Hi, it's Des here. I'm in Pittsburg in the United States of America. I'm at Share 2019. I have the pleasure of being joined by three amazing individuals that I'm going to introduce in a minute. I'm catching up with Jason. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Andrew and Matt, or Matthew. So we're going to talk about something called the ASE program, the Associate Software Engineer program. It's been run by Broadcom. It's been run for a number of years, but this year in particular has been grown to yet another level, and you're a group of individuals who have been brought to Pittsburg to take part in the Share 2019 event in a fairly unique form. They shipped a whole bunch of you in here. Maybe if I start with you, Andrew, you can maybe just explain what the Broadcom ASE program is to start with, to give a little context to viewers so they know what we're talking about. We can dive into what the journey's been like.
Sure. So we're actually, I'm based out of the Chicago office for our for Broadcom. So this ASE program is an all expenses paid training program for the summer, where we're spending the summer in Pittsburg. So each week we're kind of reviewing a different topic related to how to succeed as a new member of the team, especially the mainframe team. And it's kind of a quick dive into a lot of technologies associated with mainframe, because we didn't, in our modern university programs, we didn't study as much mainframe technology, so we're kind of learning those quickly and learning from other experienced coworkers, and then networking with peers, so we're all kind of learning together. So it's a 7-week program, and it was one of the reasons that I was excited to join Broadcom, because I knew it'd be a great way to kind of get a running start with going into a new technology with mainframe, coming from a background where I'm doing more object-oriented programming like C and Java and languages like that.
Well, I want to come back to that in a minute, because there are a couple of things you raised there that I'd like to dive into more detail around, why mainframe in particular, and also the journey you've had so far, but we'll come back to that. Let me dive into the Vitality program with you, Jason. Firstly, what is the Vitality program? And secondly, where does it fit into this whole gamut of what's the ASE program?
Sure. The Vitality program is something that was established by Broadcom.
Right.
We're the first group to go through, but they're listening to their customers, and they've heard that they've had a hard time finding the right hirees for the jobs and positions that they're looking for. So rather than allow them to, look around and not find what they're looking for, Broadcom has kind of taken upon themselves to go out and find people with some tech-related skills, or maybe jobs before, and train them in the mainframe area that is still a very prevalent area, but something that's not really known or talked about in normal education this day. So they've gone out and they've looked for people, like I say, like myself and the rest of our group, to place us into their customers, provide us with the base of education on the ZOS systems and everything that we'll be supporting, so that they're able to provide them with or workers that are ready in the customer position and really able to help them with their success and the mainframe atmosphere.
Okay, and from what I've seen so far, essentially Broadcom's investing in developing skills and experience and knowledge for people like yourself to become subject matter experts, on the basis that you will then go into client sites and take that knowledge and add value to their business. So this is a pretty big investment from Broadcom's point of view in the industry as a whole around big iron and mainframe across a number of key industries. And I'd like to come back into that journey you've had so far with that. Matt, you had an interesting story that we were talking about off camera that I'd like to dive into quickly.
Absolutely.
And I'll come back to both of you for a bit more detail on what we just talked about. You mentioned that you actually came into this whole ASE program in a slightly different way. You didn't come straight from school or college, as it were. Give us some insight into what that was like, and how did it work for you?
Absolutely, yes. So they love to bring up networking here in the mainframe community, and actually I came out of college and I got a job in what they like to refer to as the distributed area, so anything that's not the mainframe, pretty much. So I was developing for another company, and I was talking about how much I didn't enjoy what I was doing there. I felt like they were doing the same thing they'd always done, and every time I suggested something new, they told me that they'd always done it this way, and that they wouldn't do it any other way. And so I talked to one of my friends, Jameson Walker. He works also here at ASE at Broadcom. I was like telling my problems. He's like, "You should come work in mainframe." And I was thinking, mainframe? That's the opposite of where I want to go. And what he says actually is, he says they're looking for like younger people that understand how distributed works, because they're trying to branch and work more with distributed systems and embed it in. It's like it's sticky. In other words, you use the word sticky here, right? So he's saying they want to have people that understand the distributed side, so they can bring our sticky software and get it get businesses to get attached to it, and then use that to also implement into their distributed systems. So I said that sounds like a really cool opportunity. I took it, and they said I let them know up front I don't know anything about the mainframe, right? So they said, cool, we have a program just for that. So they hired me as an ASE. They sent me out here to train, and hopefully now with a little bit of mainframe knowledge and the distributed stuff I bring, I can help them develop some better software that way. So
I like the sound of that because the Vitality program in particular you were talking about. I mean, it's great to have younger generations coming through the program and start out fresh, even if you had another start somewhere else in non-mainframe space. Because I think one of the challenges we're seeing across the world now is there are about 5 generational gaps where people are either getting to end of career and have a lot of knowledge and need to pass that on and want to pass it on, but then sometimes just get lost. Or there are a lot of young guys and girls who are trying to get into an industry, particularly this space where it's big enterprise. I mean, it's great to build a little app that runs movies and things, and great, but it's not going to change world hunger. But when I came here from Sydney, I booked my trip on an app with Qantas, but it went through a mainframe. And when I paid for my hotel on my credit card, it went through an app, through a web interface of some form, probably in the cloud, but then the data ended up on a mainframe, right? So underpinning all of this, it's not going away, it's just getting bigger and badder, and when we got, all this data breach challenge and GDPR and so forth, people are getting more and more concerned with some of the bigger breaches we're seeing now. So I'm quite excited to hear about your journey being slightly different, because I think that allows people to think about, well, okay, maybe this would suit me. I love the sound of the Vitality program because it also means that if I've already got roles and skills and experience, I could potentially then reinvent myself. I want to come back and talk about the ASE program as far as a journey. So maybe just give us a couple of minutes around the whole process. How did you go through the application, the onboarding process, and then the sort of what was entailed in the 7 weeks?
Sure. So I joined with my Java experience. I had through a friend who recommended, we're looking for someone with some Java experience, and then also to learn to pick up mainframe. So just applied normally through that, and sort of part of the application was talking with my current team, like, we know you don't have much experience with, or any experience with the mainframe, but it's something we want to sort of pass on some of the generational knowledge like we were talking about. And so one of the ways that we do that is this ASE program, which is kind of our boot camp for new associate software engineers. So we start off with some general work-related, about 2 to 3 weeks of work-related, general work-related skills. So presentation, general software development skills, user experience ideas, skills like that. Then the second half of the program has been working on mainframe, understanding technologies of the mainframe specific languages like assembler, JCL, Rex, and then C on ZOS. And then we got lucky that we're lucky, one, that we get to work with some of the Vitality folks because we kind of get that connection with the customer, and then hopefully kind of like a networking connection where maybe they're asking us for help on problems more, maybe we're asking them for help on what customers are experiencing. So hopefully kind of in the future it'll be kind of a nice connection to have, and then also people that are not as hard of a technical background as some of the other ASEs, so we kind of have a more diverse group, which is a great mix of people. And then we also got lucky enough to attend the Share Convention, which we're at this last week of our program. So
like you won lotto.
Yeah, right.
But I like the idea, as you're saying there, that you start out with, I guess, what often we call soft skills or something, people connectivity, the presentation, the business skills, and then you moved into sort of the hands-on and hardcore, and then had some essentially client-facing type thinking. So it's cool, because I think sometimes people get dropped into the deep end of something, and then it frightens them away, and they never want to touch another mainframe again, because oh my god, it's too scary, right? And yet 90% of what we do every day is soft skills. Right. Tell us about the Vitality program and what that's like from a process of, how do people go about getting involved in it? What's the journey itself like? Sort of when you go, how do you get into it? What is the journey itself like, and then the popping up piece?
Sure. Well, there's no real picture-perfect tailored method for applying. You could have come from a wide variety of backgrounds, but really it's someone that's problem-solving, oriented, really looking to, if you want to make a change, you don't have to have a background in mainframe. I think most people here have not heard of or really done anything with mainframe, and if you ask your average individual, what the mainframe does in the current working world, they wouldn't be able to give you very much of an educated opinion. Yeah, they might ask you if they even still exist, and thinking that's some sort of a joke. But So really the first thing is applying. Broadcom has made a huge effort to spend more money and hire new people into the community, and that's something that really has been evident here at Share the first day. It seems like people are here kind of reuniting for the first time in a while,
right.
And it's kind of a family atmosphere that they joke around, come to network, and it's really not been more evident after the first day that it's a small community. It's not something where you're going to feel overwhelmed by all the new people, because it really is. It's like-minded groups of individuals, all here with the same interest, and that's the amazing capabilities of mainframe computing in today's world.
It's like a birds of a feather gathering. It's like the ultimate meetup for geeks, but with a business angle, I guess. One of the things that you touched on there was I really got, I mean, this is my first Share as well, and I'm honored to be here with Broadcom as well, but I got the sense that from literally the first minute walking in, there wasn't a big sales pitch. It wasn't like a vendor focused thing. It was like vendor support and vendor sponsorship, but volunteers running Share, which I like, and it's been going for a long time. And then that bird of a feather thing, as you said, it's like the networking components, idea sharing, it's just getting connected with people who are solving similar problems, but also I guess not so much evangelizing, but just reaffirming that what you're working on has been around for a long time, is going to be around for a long time, and just needs to be communicated to the world. I think that's one of the biggest challenges. Because as you said, I mean, mainframe is not something that necessarily you go to school and learn about anymore, which is unfortunate. But when you come on out, you invariably run into them occasionally, and then people go, well, I don't know what to do with it, right? If you were to, maybe I'll start with you, if you were to like one key takeaway just from the first day, what are some of the highlights you've seen so far? I mean, I personally love the opening keynote because as an adventure sport champion of the world and a paddler, and as a paddler myself, it's like I fell in love with it instantly. But there's been lunches here, there's been various talks and keynotes. What's your favorite thing so far from the first day? It's probably a hard question, but is there something that jumped out?
I've got an idea if you're thinking over it for a second.
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
Go for it.
Yeah. So one thing that stuck out to me is, you've mentioned that it's sort of a, it's not, there's not really a sales pitch. Like, it's sort of like, hey, we'd love to talk to you more about our products, but it's not, it's more of a learning event. And I was at a talk earlier today where they were talking about a new way to integrate some technologies, and they said, there's this one software offered by this one company, which is like a competitor, and normally you would say you wouldn't have the kind of cross collaboration where you're talking with competitors, and it's kind of like everyone's very welcoming as far as we want companies to use a variety of software, so it's not like there's no kind of lock-in where it's like, oh, well, you can use our software and also use other companies' software, and there's kind of integration between them all working on the mainframe, so there's kind of this
it's like a maturity thing, right?
Yeah. So
I think
cool.
This is what a lot of cloud native kids tend to forget, and at the grand old age of 51, I'm going to call them kids. But there's a point in time where you can't actually own everything. We see Google and Facebook and other companies like eBay where they built their ecosystems. They don't really have anyone else play in there unless you're maybe running apps in it. But I think in this side of the business, you've got to integrate with everything. At some point, you are not going to own the whole farm, right? And I think this is the key thing that, as you said, some of these talks are talking about now, that it's natural, it's in the DNA of the mainframe community that you are going to integrate with other things. You're going to integrate with other devices, other networks, other systems, other data, other businesses, and even if it's at API level. Matt, what's your one thing from today?
So I would say the one thing I really enjoy is being a younger guy coming here, especially in my career, earlier in my career. There are a lot of people who have been here for many, many years, and I'm actually surprised at how welcoming they are. I've done my time in some other places, and they've not been as welcoming for younger people. They see you as almost like a threat to them, but here they're more than welcome to share their knowledge, share their experiences, which is awesome. So if you're looking to get into something, this is definitely a great tech space to be in, because they are willing to share loads of information that it's invaluable. So that's a great thing to have.
That's a great takeaway.
Yeah.
And sorry, we did cut you off there, but
That's all right.
I can
really piggyback on what both these guys said. Is people aren't here. Yes, they're conflicting customers, conflicting creators of software and hardware. But when everyone's here, they're really here for the same ideas, and it's really to promote and to learn from each other. And I think that was also evident in our keynote speaker today, as she was saying, there's two teams, at the peak of their race, and the first team and second team are getting together and looking at the same map to work together.
I love that
even though
piece.
they're competing and they want to beat the other team. But it's the same sort of feeling amongst everyone here. Is that yes, you might be when you go home, trying to crew them up and create something better than them. But while you're here, it's that attitude of I'm out against you is completely erased. It is a more communal idea of. And that's also something they want the younger generations to come in and influence. Things have been run on the mainframes for so long in a certain way, and with what is typically taught, as far as higher level programming languages, there's no reason why we can't integrate all of that together, and it's something that's been emphasized and really also seen as a positive attribute for
Fantastic.
so far.
What a great wrap up. Well, for me these days, I look at the mainframe as the biggest Linux box on the planet, and I get beaten up about that. But at the end of the day, it's like I can run OpenStack, I can run Kubernetes, I run Docker, I can run Hadoop and Spark on it, and I don't really care what's behind the scenes. Well, I do really. Well, Jason, Andrew, Matt, thank you so much for making time to catch up with me. Firstly, congratulations on getting through the program.
Thank you very much.
And also, I guess on behalf of the community, thank you for what you're doing in championing the whole thing.
Glad to be a part of it.
Taking part of it, and I look forward to an exciting 3 to 5 years ahead of us to see your career path individually, but also what you're doing around Share, and hopefully see you here next year.
Absolutely.
Likewise.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Des.
Cheers.